Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, X Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Jeranism Raw with Jeran and Missa, Fearless with Frank Castle, Strange World with Mark Sargent, The Eye of Ra with Ra Castaldo, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray, Ironworks with Josh Corey, The Kev Baker Show, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117? Or call into your favorite show, toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
The party. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Voters in New Hampshire begin casting ballots in just about 4 hours, but President Trump is also there.
I hear a lot of Republicans tomorrow will vote for the weakest candidate possible of the Democrats. Does that make sense? You people would do that.
How we doing?
My only problem is I'm trying to figure out who is their weakest candidate. I think they're all weak.
The president holding a rally in Manchester.
9 months from now, we are going to take back the House of Representatives. We are going to hold the Senate, and we are going to keep the White House.
Are we live during
Heading
commercials?
into the primary,
Yes.
Bernie Sanders from neighboring Vermont is leading national polls.
What makes a 78-year-old so popular with young Democrats? His platform, which includes free college.
We will make public colleges and universities tuition-free,
legal pot.
We are going to end the war on drugs and legalize marijuana in every state in this country.
And the elimination of private health insurance in favor of Medicare for all.
Fox's Peter Doocy in Durham, New Hampshire. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn will have to wait a little longer to learn his fate. He had petitioned the court to withdraw his guilty plea, but a sentencing hearing scheduled for the end of the month has been canceled. This is federal prosecutors have asked a judge to sentence President Trump's former confidant Roger Stone to between 7 and 9 years in prison after his conviction on witness tampering. China now says more than 1,000 people have died from the coronavirus, as the World Health Organization says they're sending a team to China to assist Chinese officials.
99% of the reported cases are in China, and most cases are mild. About 2% of cases are fatal.
Mild.
Director General
mild?
Tedros Ghebreyesus. America is listening to Fox News.
Haven't like 10,000 people died of influenza in the USA?
Calm. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your... This is Truth Frequency Radio.
They're the wicked ones, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Astronauts to the moon.
Ten, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your protection from deception. That's right here at truthfrequencyradio.com. Don't cry, don't weep. You are listening to the current reigning, defending, and unarguably the number one show on Truth Frequency Radio on Monday nights between 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern. The show is Jeranism Monday Night Raw, and it starts right about now. I'm your host, Jeran from Jeranism. We are live all over the place. TFRlive.com, of course, on YouTube, on the Jeranism Raw YouTube channel, and live at dlive.tv/Jeranism. So welcome one, welcome all. My co-host, of course, Dave, the man, the myth, the Junicorn, the legend, the man with the plan, all those things. Dave Weiss. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeran. Happy to be here. What's happening?
Oh, couldn't ask for anything better. But if I were to ask for something better, it would be to have an additional co-host, and we do get that wish tonight. He is Jason Lingren from the Secrets of Saturn and Crow 777 Radio. What's up, Jason? How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you guys? It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I love having you on the show, and happy that you're here. And we're doing well. So glad that you guys are now on DLive, correct? You've moved over.
We're doing everything. I've kind of sort of learned how to do OBS, so I dual stream to my Secrets of Saturn YouTube channel as well as the Crow 777 Radio DLive channel. We use that for everything, trying to build that up. As a matter of fact, we doubled our followers today because Crow and myself were on with Owen Benjamin today, and he told everybody to go do it. So we have almost 1,000 followers on there now.
No, I think you got more than 1,000 if I checked right a little bit earlier. So
maybe you built up even more. I'll have to check.
There you go. Yeah, I had to add myself to one of those, so you can count me as a follower.
Oh, look at that, 1.32K.
There's nobody better you could have asked for than me to, have become a follower today. So you should
appreciate your presence, and we are of course following you as well.
Great, awesome. Glad that we're all following each other. That's what we should do. I'm glad that there's a platform that we can start sending people over to. And like you said, so you're also doing a podcast on Secrets of Saturn, right? Your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I revived the podcast. I just did an episode with Mark Devlin the other day on the James Bond franchise and all the crazy social engineering built into that. And then every week, my friend Wayne McCroy and I do a live stream on Wednesday nights, 8 to 10 Central. We usually have somebody else join us. I'll probably be hitting you guys up at some point soon, too. And then Crow and I are now doing the Sunday show on my channel as well. Sunday nights, 5 to 6 Central on my YouTube channel. I lost my train of thought for a moment there.
That's right. I'm writing this down because I wanted to make sure. So that is kind of right after the Globebusters show. So I'll make sure we shout that out as we head off the air on Sundays. You said that was 5 o'clock Central, correct?
Yeah, it's the same time we did the TFR thing because people were looking forward to that, and we didn't want to disrupt that if they like okay, and we're always going to go hear Crow on that time. We kept it the same.
Very cool. Awesome. And for those who listen to the show, I know that they just added a show after this one, and I believe tonight's the first night. I'll have to get you the details. I don't remember what the name of the person is or what the name of the show is. I probably could look that up quickly here if I scroll back far enough. But just so you know, usually there is replays of other shows after this one, but there is a live show that will be starting after the show this week. So welcome to the TFR team, whoever you are. I should probably have that. But howdy, welcome to the TFR team. Happy to have you and glad that you're following up my show with something live. That'll be great for the listeners who maybe aren't ready to tune out yet when this show ends. So let's see here. The host is, welcome everybody, our new TFR host, Tanuj, Tanuj. And the little thing says, are you ready to truly evolve your consciousness? Humanity has been in a pitiful spiritual slumber for a millennium. Join Tanuj Sudan, Soodan, on The Matrix Unveiled as he uncovers the truth about the nature of reality, consciousness, energetic connection, metaphysics, psychology, psychedelics, meditation, connecting to the universe, and truly evolving one's consciousness. Humanity must remember that they are truly multidimensional, energetic creators with unlimited potential to create every aspect of their reality. The time for spiritual evolution and accessing our innate energetic abilities is now. So welcome to the family, Tanuj Sudan. Welcome to The Matrix Unveiled, which will be premiering tonight right after the show in about 2 hours. So welcome to the team, Tanuj. All right. So here we go. We're back. Lucky's typing. Lucky just said beautiful shout out for the upcoming. Yeah, I'm excited. Love to know that there's somebody live following the show. It'd be good for our listeners as well as new listeners and TFR listeners. So check that out, iHeartRadio, or of course, TFRlive.com. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Ruth, shall we, Dave? I think that you caused so many people to cry this week. And I'm
the messages are insane. It was so many positive messages, and everyone either claimed they cried or they got onions in their eyes or cat hair or something.
Well, I only said onions in my eyes after you called me gay.
I did not call you gay.
No, it was great.
I called you a fag.
Oh, that's
I love political incorrectness. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh,
was that politically incorrect?
We got to thank TFR for that. No, I think you can. Oh, wait, can we not say that? I forgot what we're not allowed to say.
No, the best was when I made the video and I was sharing it before I took it public. I sent it to Alex, Flat Earth Man, who, we have a playful back and forth going. And I said, get ready. I go, this is going to make you cry. And he's with the attitude, bring it. And then 10 minutes later, I get a text back, fuck you.
That's a great.
He said all these really nice things, and I said fag.
So no, I'm sure everybody got a little bit of some tears in their eyes. And if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, who's listening to this show, definitely go to Dave's channel, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH. Easy to type to get there, or my channel, or Taboo Conspiracies channel, or I saw it on all kinds of people. PK shared it. If you watched Owen with Crow and Jason this morning or this afternoon, it was just about 7 hours ago, they also shared it. So it's being kind of pushed all over the place. You can call it going viral if you want, and it needed to be because it was awesome. And Dave, I think people are anxious to hear because they haven't heard from you yet exactly how that all went down. So do tell. Yeah,
so my mother, by choice, is living in this wonderful community where she had her own apartment, and then about a year or so ago, she declined and moved over to the assisted facility where, where she was living. There was non-assistants. Now she has lots of assistants, and this is where she chooses to be. She won't come up and live with us, so no judgment, please. And I was down there visiting her. And she was taking a nap, and I was like, I've been wanting to talk to some elderly people. So I went to the desk, and I said, do you have anyone here that's over 100 that's still lucid? And they're like, oh, yeah, that would be Ruth. And we walked down to her room, and she wasn't there. And we turn around, and there she is, right in the hallway, right where we were standing, actually, when we started. And, I kneeled down and I talked to her. I said, I told her that I'd be interested in finding out, asking her some questions about her childhood. And she's like, all for it. Elderly people are dying for people to talk to them. They want, young people, young bucks like myself to talk to them. And so we went over to the dining room, which was empty, and we sat there, and I was interviewing her for about 30 minutes because I was interested in talking about the World's Fairs because I have so many questions about the World's Fairs. And when I first asked her, I said, where did you grow up? She said, Connecticut and New York. And I asked her if she went to the World's Fair. She said, yes. So I was like, can I interview you? So I'm interviewing her with the camera on the table. And we're interviewing for about 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden, I realized I got to ask her about school. And I asked her about school, and she said, they taught me the earth was flat. And I was like, and then she's telling me about the Bible. For those of you that haven't seen the clip on Jeran's video on Jeranism's channel, he added the extra clip in at the end. And I was going to call Nathan Thompson, who, is he knows those Bible verses better than anybody. And I figured he could just go live and we could do it. It'll be really cool. But when I called him, phone went directly to voicemail. And I said, all right, I'm just going to record it myself. And I just started talking to her, and you guys saw it. I mean, that was it, unrehearsed, unplanned, and it was pretty emotional. I was like panicking when she was telling some of the stories where I thought she was going to just fall apart, and so I was kind of interjecting with stuff just to lighten it up a little bit. But it was it's a little nerve-wracking. I don't know if you could tell.
No, it was great. I just it was, I don't know, one of those videos that's just shocking in so many ways. And I agree with you, Dave, that every time I've watched it, I've heard something new, something different. And it's amazing. And it's awesome to hear from somebody that is so lucid and able to talk so freely and to be touched at a moment like she was. And it touched us all. I don't know how you can really watch that and not shed a tear unless you are soulless. Which, based on the number of thumbs down on your video and my video, there are some out there, believe it or not.
Well, you've got 30. You're still stuck at 33 thumbs down. Just very suspicious.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just it felt good. It was one of those things. It's like when I make one of my good videos, it just comes together without thinking. I actually sat down just before dinner and I made which I think is a great video, which will be premiering on the app tomorrow morning, about the stars. And Paige watched it. Paige, what did you think? The video, did it move you? It was wonderful. Did it make you cry? It did not make you cry.
It was wonderful, but didn't make her cry. Did watch the video when you sent it to? She wasn't with you, right? When you were interviewing Ruth, that was just you down there.
No, it was just me.
Right. When she watched that, did she shed a tear?
I said yes. Okay. When I sent you and Caroline that, did you shed a tear about Ruth? When I sent you the Ruth video page.
Oh yes.
You're right. Choked up.
Glad she had the soul.
Yeah. So many people said that it really moved them. You know, what really, besides what it did for Ruth, it's what she did for so many other people that were having hard times, people in our close group, people in our community. There's so many people that commented saying that, they're having a rough day, they're having a rough time, they were kind of depressed, and this video gave them hope. That really touches me. So I'm thrilled. I'm happy. And then today, I listened to you guys, Crow and Jason and Owen, and it was almost embarrassing how nice you guys were being to me. But I appreciate it, and I do the best that I can do.
Dave uses the word literally a little too often. He called me earlier today. He says, "Did you listen to Joe and Chris? And they were literally making love to me." I said, "No, they were not literally making Stop saying that word.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means."
Right, exactly. I don't think you know what it literally means. And if they were literally making love to you, that I don't know if that
they
kind
did.
of
My.
Check out DLive if you want to see the literal making love to Dave. No, it was good stuff. It was great to hear you guys talk about it. But you're right; it uplifted a lot of people, like Taboo Conspiracy, who's said he's had some down days, and some other people. And
Taboo's got that stuff going on with his family. His family's just like hates flat Earth. Not his direct family. His siblings, is it? I don't want to get into the details, but it just it's like you just gotta stand up for what you believe, and not give up. I mean, if you don't live your life that way, you're just never going to be happy. What do you think about that, Crow?
I think that it's good to know the difference. And as I was calling in, I got an email from a person who was beside themselves because their whole life they've been told we live on a sphere, and they wanted me to tell them the truth. And they were very shook up about it. So I politely said, the best thing you can do is logically work out what you've been told, and do research. And so I think it's maybe best not to push these things when you can sense someone's feeling like they just fell in a hole.
All right, welcome to the show, Crow Triple.
Yeah, thanks for introducing Crow. Just Jason, no Crow.
I didn't know that Crow was on.
I didn't either.
I just added him.
Making us.
You're messing with us. You snigget.
You guys got to try to keep up with Weiss there. He's one step ahead of everyone.
And Crow, if you didn't hear, thank you for the very, very kind words on your show today. It was very moving, so thanks.
You were killing him, man. I was almost to tears watching that.
You're the only one that didn't cry. You got no heart.
Well, I'm not sure I'd go that far. It's a bit hard. It's hard to watch that and then come to the reality how badly people have been treated, especially someone like that. It's kind of why we're all doing this, I think.
There's so many messages that I'm getting from this, that it's never too late. People are like, well, I'm too old to learn. Well, Ruth is 102, and she accepted it as soon as she heard it. Because it's been in the back of her head the whole time, and it just freed her. I just saw that freeing of her. There's so much, and I've for most of my life I looked at elderly people as a pain. They're in the way, just like you were saying, and it's a horrible thing that we've done that. and I've known about the, Indians, that, other cultures that respect their elderly. And it wasn't until, not that long ago where I started realizing that the elderly are a treasure, and there's so much information that they have, and we just need to talk to them. The thing I want to say is what I did was really easy, and anybody can do it, and everybody has a video recorder in their pocket, except Crow. And if you find an elderly person, ask them, they're an adult, if you can interview them. They'll most likely say yes because they're dying for companionship. And let's document this stuff, because there's so many reports of people saying, in Germany in 1930 they were teaching flat Earth, and Curious Jay found somebody. There's only a couple years left, and then all of these people are gone. All of these people from where they changed history are gone, and we're all stuck in the fake paradigm now with no crossover.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, everything you said is true, except that last part I think we can qualify. This cat's out of the bag. And short of some catastrophe from hell changing the spin that doesn't exist in this world, that cat's not going back in the bag. But, I mean, you make a valid point. And it's not just, not respecting your elders cuts you off from lifetimes of learning, but it's not just the elders. So many people walk by a Middle Eastern person and think, oh, that's a you know what? If you stopped and asked that person their story, your jaw would probably drop. I learned a long time ago to do this, but, think about this, Dave. I just sent you 2 documents as I was doing research about the Vatican. I stumbled across those, I think they're 1800s documents where people are given 100 proofs why we're not living on a ball. Yeah. I think what's gone on here since roughly 2000 has let a truth out, and I don't think it can be contained. But I do think that powers will be exerted to put an iron fist hold, so they just really don't care what people know or they don't know. I think that's where this is headed. But I don't think this is ever getting stuff back in a bag.
Well, and that's why I called the show today, but what can I do? Because I get that a lot of people ask me that all the time. And I think Dave's advice is huge, to go out and actually talk to people, do some interviews with people. I'm in the unfortunate position that all 4 of my grandparents are gone. And, what I wouldn't give to go back and spend a week more with each one of them and actually be able to talk about some of these subjects. Unfortunately, I woke up after they were all gone. And I agree with you, Dave. I just looked at them as, here's my grandparents. They're simply my ancestors. And I didn't actually get to pick their brain at all. And man, I really feel bad about that. I wish
even just a general interview. What do you know? What's important? Like the Ruth that Dave was speaking with. Think about what that life lived. No light in the beginning of that life. She saw light bulbs come to be, which means she saw radio become popular, and then she saw television. From this Tavistock research, we know damn well that they stated the greatest generation, which she precedes, by the way, would be the hardest to program. And, I was thinking this whole time as I watched the interview, how quickly she went right back to where she started, how easily she shifted. She didn't even blink her eye because she had already had a solid foundation back then that was messed with after the fact. But, I think any interview.
How in touch with nature she would have been in her early life. She blatantly said no electricity. Like, she made a point of saying that, no electricity. So that means you're about as close to nature as you possibly can be away from technology.
Right. And then
so basically she lived before what I call false light, and that's probably how they viewed it.
Right. In my pre-interview, she was talking about her closest girlfriend was like over a mile away, and she had to walk through the woods in the dark to go see her by herself, just totally afraid, but she did it, to see her friend. And it's very interesting.
People who live close to nature are not as easily scared. I was in the Upper Peninsula at a family reunion, and one of my, I guess probably a second or a third cousin, she's probably 15 years younger than me. She's not very big, and there was a bear den that's been known to be a bear den, but someone used to live in it. And we were thinking, oh, this is cool. And she goes, well, let's go in it. She basically took a cell phone, turned on the thing, and went down the bear den. And I'm standing there. I don't scare easy, but I wasn't going down that thing because I didn't have any experience with it. And after the fact, I kind of thought about it. There was absolutely no fear. I said, well, what if there's a bear in there? And she says, oh, it'll be fine. Went right down a hole in the ground. And it goes to show you, people are freaking out because of some made up nonsense coronavirus right now. I know a 5'2" girl who will crawl in a bear den without blinking.
Hey, I have a call out. I keep forgetting this, but I want to tell somebody, if there's anybody that's I don't want to. What's the word? Can I say Oriental? I can say Oriental. It's not politically incorrect, right?
I'm not sure.
Yes, it is. I'm pretty sure it's Asian.
Yeah. Asian, Oriental, whatever. If there's an Asian, that's a better word. Asian person. If you guys remember, one of the first proofs of the coronavirus was a nurse wearing her full mask and hair, net, talking on the phone saying, it's more. People are dying everywhere. We need more beds. You guys remember that that was one of the first things the mainstream media was showing us.
I don't watch the news. I missed all of it.
But it was so obviously fake. The problem is so many truth channels picked it up as real. I'm looking for somebody just to recreate that. Just put on a mask, freak out on the telephone, just say some crazy stuff, and we can just show how easy it is to do it. Every single proof they've shown us is nothing.
Not only that, I'll bet you that nurse had a name, and I'll bet you if someone told you what that name mean, we'd find the word game that always goes on, right?
Absolutely.
Almost certainly.
No, I don't doubt that at all.
You want to do it like you want to find another Asian young lady, or do you just want to replicate the scene itself? Because
I just want somebody just to put on a mask and say a bunch of
hell, I can do
anything
you want.
And then you can just say, look, how do you know this one's not real? I don't know. I was going to actually try to do it and then release it and have people freak out and then show the rest of it that it's fake.
I see. Do it like you mean it. I get where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I see where you're going. It's a little underhanded for me, I guess. Because if you have any number of people that think it's real, you're doing the opposite of where you're headed.
All right, I retract the request.
I think we need to be doing more uplifting stuff. There's something away from in the truth community.
I don't want to go down the coronavirus thing right now, but the problem I have with it is the more people that believe it, the bigger they're going to make it. It's only when people just stop believing it that they'll drop it from the news, just like they did with every other virus for the last decade.
Well, right, you know what's going to happen. It's just they're going to play it out as long as they can. Then when no one gives a fart because no one's really dying, it's going to pitter out just like everything else, and then they'll just come up with the next nonsense.
This spell has more potential behind it for the following reason. If you guys have followed what the Germans were supposedly going to release, what Dr. Lena talked about, and what I had come to the conclusion of a number of years ago, is that viruses don't exist as described, these little kind of bacteria-like things we imagine. And what he said, it was better described, and the German research backed him, as an electromagnetic vampire. So it sucked your energy in electromagnetic fashion. The description given is that when your body reaches a low energy level, it will magnetically attract what we call being sick. So when you consider a few 100 million minds sucked into this coronavirus nonsense, is it possible that they're actually creating the lowered state, the lower energy level for people to start to begin getting sick? And this is what I was thinking about as this went on. And by the way, I just rewrote the lyrics to My Sharona, turned it into My Corona because I had to get the point across in my forum.
Wasn't it always My Corona?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it's just fear porn. And so many people, like the other day, I got an email, a lady who followed me said, I know this is fear porn, but I'm scared to death because for my job, I have to get on a plane and go over to Asia. And so I wrote her back. I said, this is nonsense. This is complete fake. I even mentioned the image you made from 2002 forward. I said, you could logically put together that this is nonsense. She wrote me back and she said, thank you so much. I'm so relieved.
There's 1,000 flights over China right now. If any of this was true, that would not be happening.
All right, we're on a break. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Journalism Monday Night Raw.
As if we're really just born to die. I'd rather laugh than born. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite feeds our body with the right nutrients to keep us healthy. Just listen to what Arthur has to say.
I was just calling to tell you what a great product you have. I had used this about, 10 years ago after I had congestive heart failure. And it fixed me up and got me going for the last 10 years. Lately, I've been having heart trouble again. So I placed another order because this was the only thing that ever worked. And I just wanted to let you know that you have a great product.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
extend your life with Extendovite.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the Live Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate limescale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Dowsing is the ancient science of finding water and metal underground. Albert Einstein said that dowsing was tapping into earth energies which modern science as yet does not understand. Diamonds, silver, gold, and platinum objects have all been found using dowsing. And now, for the first time on film, we visit the pyramids, Stonehenge, and ancient sites, dowsing for buried treasure and tapping into this mysterious earth energy.
The Enigma Channel. Intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Journalism Monday Night Raw. We've got a special treat for you tonight. We've got myself and David Weiss, which is always a treat, of course. But we've got Jason Lingman, we've got Crow 777, and we're back. So, hey, one thing, Dave, that I did see about your video, a lot of people were messaging me, trying to contact me about possibly sending flowers to Ruth. Have you gotten the same kind of requests?
Yeah, so many people were asking, they want to send her a gift, candy. I don't think she needs any candy. They want to send her money. She doesn't really need anything. She's not out there shopping. She can't see. And so I thought I would gather some funds and we'll send her like a whole bunch of flowers, that she can smell and sense. And, I thought that might be nice. And then anyone that donates, that writes a note, I'm going to call her. I'll order all the flowers, have them delivered. And the day before they go, I'll just give her a call and read her the notes and some of the comments and let her know what's happening. She has no idea right now what's going on. So I am going to call her this weekend and let her know what's going on. And then it would really be nice, if we got her, a significant amount of flowers. Maybe I can think of some other things to go with it that somebody that can barely see anything would enjoy.
Count me in, man. If you're going to do something, tell me. I'll PayPal you cash.
Yeah. So the PayPal is it's the pinned comment under my video. It's just my PayPal, DTWEISS@gmail, and just write for Ruth. Write a note. Some of you are sending money without even a note. Just write a note, a couple sentences. Just tell her what the video meant for you. Nothing long, no novels, because she, I don't know how much I can read to her. But I think it would be nice, and I think she would really get a thrill out of it. And I don't know. I don't know what else. Anyone have a good idea?
Yeah, I got a great idea. Get your camera going again and get some of that wisdom on the record from a human being that lived before the light bulb was here. Ask her about what happened when radio came. What about TV? Get her thoughts on all this. In my life, my lifetime, it's changed so much. Can you imagine hers?
Yeah, and I'm curious about how old her parents lived and what you were saying today with Owen. Yeah, so many questions. So next time I go down, I'll do that.
That'd be great to hear from her again. But back to this coronavirus thing. I was at an event last night where a bunch of people were wearing masks, and I'm just listening to what Crow was saying. I totally agree that whole fear must lower your immune system.
It's part of the spell, man. Part of the spell.
But, I was in an event with, thousands of people, and it's so funny. It's if you were that worried that you had to put on a mask, I'm pretty sure you would stay in your house and not go to an event with thousands of people. It just doesn't make sense to me. But, hey, people got to do what they got to do. So, all right, Dave, so that's what people can do if they want to help out Ruth or send her something. But I think I agree with what Crow said. I would love to see you do another interview. And like I said, I called the show, but what can I do? I get that question all the time, and people can go to these rest homes or any place where they know that there's some elderly person and just do a short interview like you did on your iPhone.
They're always looking for volunteers to help, to volunteer just to come and talk. Sometimes they have people like bring your dog, just so that they can pet a dog. Just find out what's going on at these places, and you can go and actually start talking to these people and really document. It's really important to document it. Like if I had that conversation without recording it, I'd just be telling you guys a story right now.
You could have started a thing here. We should push to start a thing where the wisdom of generations is put on the record. There's always some stupid challenge online. How about something that's actually meaningful, where people go out and seek out the older generations and get their stories on video, on record, and ask them things.
That would mean that
and call it living history.
Yeah, that would mean that people would actually have to have a recording device with them at all times in case they came across somebody.
Huh. I do. It's called Jason. I have a Jason in my pocket.
I wonder what would happen if somebody could walk around with a device all the time, something that is electronic and might have some storage and a microphone, something like an iPhone.
Yeah, would be awesome. So I totally agree with Crow. You need to head out there, and I like the name for it, Living History. And it'd be so easy to do. It doesn't have to be more than 10, 20 minutes. And I think that the person that you're interviewing would love to have you talk to them, something that they probably don't get a lot anymore.
Jeran, the 233 number, it's going straight to voicemail?
What voicemail?
Somebody's trying to call it.
213.
213.
Didn't I type?
I don't know if if I've mentioned it here, but my first job, I left high school in ninth grade. Actually, I dropped out of high school. And the first job I had was in an old folks home, where it's the first time I experienced death. But those people, like there was a guy in there with one lung, told me the story of being in World War I, and he lost a lung to mustard gas. I think there's a serious idea here, Dave, for people to go in, because the one thing that we don't have in our lack of culture here is respect for the older generation. Just going in to meet those people and saying, we'd like to hear your wisdom, that would probably mean more to someone that age than anything I can imagine in our current state of affairs. You know, just so everyone knows, the reason I'm in Rhode Island is because my parents will not die in an old folks home. I did it in 2005 for my father, and I'm here doing it now. I think it's a crime to warehouse old people in an old folks home.
Yeah, and you know, once your parents are gone, you'll definitely feel like, you know, I just lost my mom months ago, and you know, you'll always go back and wish over and over again that you would have had more conversations. And so, if you have the opportunity, if you've got grandparents, and you know, you may not think they have a story to tell, I guarantee you they do. And they
I guarantee you they do.
Right, and they maybe just don't. You haven't asked them, and they, you know, you've never sat down and just said, "Just tell me about your life. Tell me about how it was growing up. What was different? You know, what are the things that you've seen that have changed the way that you are?" I think it'd be awesome.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna take a phone call. We've got a call from the 323, and it is the great, the wonderful Owen Benjamin. Owen, what's up, my friend?
Hey guys, how are you?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, is that Crow?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. How are you guys?
Long time no see.
Right?
I know. Great stream today. That was a blast.
That was a lot of fun. Thanks for the kind words, man.
Oh, your new video, Weiss, is incredible. It's making everyone tear up.
For sure. So yeah, this is, if we didn't have enough gravy on the show already, ladies and gentlemen, it's Owen Benjamin on the line. So, Owen, what's new with you? How are things?
I got
some manner.
Well, I'm milking goats right now, man. I got my hands on some teeth.
All right.
And so when Weiss just texted me, I was like, "Yeah, what a great way to pass the time." Oh, dude, you guys are gonna die. So I was a little distracted. I was just a little distracted calling in, and I just realized I put a male goat on the stand, and I reached in. It was just his wiener.
Uh-oh. Don't be milking.
That's never happened. That's never happened before.
Yeah, we better put the cliche out. If you touch it more than once, you're playing with it, and everyone knows it.
Oh, my. Yeah, if it's a half...
Well, it wasn't like his wiener, but you know what I mean. It was a lack of teeth. And there's only one male. There's like 14 female, and I happened to grab the one male. It's hilarious.
Dude,
you got some good feed, didn't you, Gary? Huh?
I was going to say, Owen, you always got me, dying at these things that you bring up that are just hilarious. I remember back when you were talking about, quicksand, just something I've always thought about and was just dying about it. But today, when you're talking about the pillows on the bed, it's something I've just seen all my life and never even questioned it. Like, what the hell is that about?
Dude, real life is funny, man. Yeah, the quicksand fear porn must be so. Like pre 9/11 fear porn was a lot more. It's a lot more just like goofy, like quicksand.
Right.
Like that's just hilarious.
Do you know where I learned about quicksand? Come on, you guys know.
I don't know, man.
It's got to be a movie.
The Princess Bride.
Gilligan's Island.
Princess Bride?
I
never watched that show.
That's before my day.
People don't realize how much Gilligan's Island programmed us, man. That is the quintessential, this is how society works. The rich guy does what he wants, and he's got the last word no matter what. The professor handles all the science. The girls got to make the coconut pies. I'm not sure why they never killed Gilligan, but you see where I'm going here.
Dude, Gilligan seemed like your neighborhood pedo, if you know what I mean. He seemed like a guy that you don't want around your kids.
I don't think he was bright enough to be a pedo, frankly.
But he just seemed like that smarmy guy. Even as a kid, I felt a real Stranger Danger vibe. I never watched it.
You got to watch it. I think you're missing home plate on this one. I don't know if you guys are with me, but Gilligan's pretty harmless unless something matters. If something matters, he will dick it up. He will break the
I know.
coconut phone.
So why don't they kill him? I feel like he has blackmail on him. He honeypotted him. He's the Epstein of Gilligan's
those were
Island.
simpler. Yeah, those were simpler times. John Wick hadn't showed us all how to do it yet.
So what are you guys chatting about this evening? I don't want to dominate the convo. What's going on?
We were talking
We don't have to talk about goats.
We're talking about the Ruth video, and there's so many people that not only mirrored it, now their people are chopping it up. Like Effed Up World, Joe Hill, he made a different version and added to it and picked out little points. John Thor, I believe, made a compilation, and Tell Me What You Love just made a great one. It's really spreading in all different ways, so we're going to learn more and more from it over the next period of time. Let's know.
What really blew my mind was that they always say the globe Earth has been taught for thousands of years, but we're looking at a human American that was taught that in her lifetime in public school in America. That's a narrative shatterer. And older people, man, they have such a good perspective. Like my mom, 78, recently said, she's like, I don't use digital watches. I'm like, why? She's like, I need context. She's like, I need to know where I've been. I'm like, wow. Like she doesn't want to just read a number on a digital face. She's like, I need to see the hands moving. I need to know context.
I get that.
I was like,
I get that.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Totally. It's like just a digital number. When you're in tune, like my mom's an in tune person. It's like that's jarring just to read like 3:15. She likes to see the shapes, the movement, like where it's going, what it's related to. And they've never had cell phones, never had any of that.
Oh, and we were talking about, people need to go out and interview their elders, whether it's their grandparents or not. But I remember one of the, most important streams I saw you do is the one where you sat there with your mom. Did you get a lot of comments on that? People enjoy that?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I used to do on Patreon before they deleted me for hate speech, is I would have my mom, I would just, that would be the site, because I like to be a little protective of my mom, but she has a lot to say. I would do like conversations with my mom and just record them. And her insights are just unbelievable, because it's unprogrammed. It's like, everybody has their own programming, but they'll just cut through programming like a knife with just that innocence. Like, it's odd how a lot of older people have that childlike innocence because they just know more stuff, And so I used to have her on as much as possible. Anybody that just has knowledge. I used to do this series, Case Closed Beers Open, out of the Adirondack Mountains, where me and my brother created this fantasy world where we were just we're conspiracy theorists, but it was like the case of the missing log pile. It was all very local.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, we didn't have Google, but we had Coop, this guy named Chicken Coop, real guy, he doesn't have a bank account. And so we would do the sound effects like old timey radio when we go into the bar and be like, Coop, we need to find out everything we need to know about pigeons. He's like, pigeons, you say? And then he would tell us like the old notions of pigeons. And of course, for the comedy's sake, they'd all be like out there. We'd be like, nobody really knows what a pigeon is, boys. But it was just like, we didn't have a Google, we had a Coop. And at first it seems comedic because, it would be, we'd ask him about pigeons and he'd be like, just start talking about something else. Like, wood will warm you 5 times. When you cut it, when you split it, when you carry it, when you burn it. And it's like, okay, that doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about. But then when you understand Google, that Google actually gives you faulty info, the Coop is actually better than Google in reality.
Right.
Even in that situation, because Google will tell you something definitely wrong, but just a random dude at a bar will just tell you just something interesting.
It's scary
living history.
Scary how much people depend on Google. I've been out doing these interviews with people and just asking people how far away the sun is, and almost every other answer is, "Oh, Google knows." Google knows. Thanks a lot.
They Google it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I knew. Do you know, Jeran? How far is the sun?
Certainly a lot closer than I've been taught.
Well, I think we'll agree it's not 93 million miles, but that's. If you consider what we're talking about, and this is what makes this place such a mystery, shouldn't simple triangulation give us an answer that's like right on the money, and yet it does not. That's baffled me for a long time. It's almost, we had a thread on the forum where people were saying things like maybe each individual person experiences the sun and moon in a personal way.
Well, I mean, look at that with the whole Catholic and Christianity belief where you talk about a personal relationship with the sun.
Yep, exactly. Oh, by the way, we're going to be doing a Vatican episode. I don't even have a shotgun that'll hold enough rounds for the research I just did on the Vatican.
Man. The coop answer for the sun, which is oddly kind of like what you guys would say. Like, all the dudes I used to hang with in Saranac Lake would be like, well, buddy, it's too far in the winter and too close in the summer. And that's it.
Which is actually the reverse of true, I think.
Yep. Right, well, it's reverse of science, but in his mind, it's like, I'd like to have the sun closer in the winter, buddy, but a little farther in the summer. I burn my butt. And that's it. And it's just like, oh, thanks, man. He's like, want a beer to help me build the deck? You're like, sure.
Crow, you always say, they can change. If something's digital, they can change it, and we know that they do all the time. So, people are giving up on books. I'm saying collect books. New books, old books. I remember when we got when I was a small kid, I was the youngest of 5. We got the World Book Encyclopedia. And you know what we did? We threw out the old one, which I think was like the Encyclopedia Americana, or I'm not sure which one it was, but I remember it was an old one with black covers. It's like it's outdated, and they threw it out in the garbage.
It was the barn wall. That's probably what you ought to call it. You threw away the barn wall. You threw away the record of the original laws.
So if somebody, doesn't know what to do, go to old tag sales, estates.
Yes.
These things are still around.
They will be worth their weight. I am predicting that books will be worth their weight in the next 20 years.
Thrift stores, man.
Especially,
I got some good news for you guys.
Okay.
You guys want some good news on books? So my buddy Vox Day, who I do on Unauthorized.tv with, he has a publishing company, and their new thing is publishing old books in leather so they don't break down. And so, like the Crowley Junior Classics, he's publishing the 1913 edition, Meditations, like all these old books. And there's a massive market for it. Because here's another thing: the paper they use is intended to become pulp quickly. So back in the day, they would use better paper and they would use leather. And so, he and his publishing house is taking over where Franklin Books left off. And here's the weirdest thing: is the most valuable leather for books is goat skin. So I keep telling him to stay the hell away from me.
Well, isn't it true also that after a book is 100 years old that it loses its copyright? Right? I think anybody can reprint it after 100 years.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and that's their whole mission. Their mission is the good, the beautiful, and the true. It's Castalia House, and so whether it's Marcus Aurelius or the Collier Junior Classics, like, you can see the line in the sand when they started having the real old myth, the actual ungraveled Christianity, the stories of out west where it was about boys becoming men and stuff, kind of like when Crow talks about snakes. These are things that you read to your kids, and then it became like, Billy goes pee-pee in the toilet. And so his whole thing is just to keep that knowledge. And people are buying them. It's a massive market because the memory hole is real. And people are like, okay, time to get some books. And the response has been incredible.
So when we did Shoot the Moon NYC, a young man, I guess I won't say his name, it's not cool to do on the air without permission, comes up to me and gives me a box with a book in it. And he says, I have this old book. I was thinking about you. I get back to the hotel room. I think it's late 1500s or early 1600s. It has a complete description on how Latin is used, syntax, how to put it together. But then 1/3 of the book is the historical account of Greece, and the other third of the book is the historical account of Rome. And so I'm dying to do this, but it's so old and fragile. I'm nervous as hell. But there's nothing better. And by the way, if they're using goatskin, someone should probably publish the Box Saga.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, also stuff like Tale of Genji and stuff, like just really, really, really old accounts of history. Like Tale of Genji is extremely old. And so if you read that book, I haven't read it, but I know I've read little excerpts of it. That's a different universe, like how people would live in the ancient Far East. Or like the Outlaws of the Marsh. If people want to understand Chinese culture, read their classics. You know, you can understand how China is today.
Think about Burma, man. I've been watching what we call Myanmar now. I forget how many hundreds of thousands of stupa temples. It became where the whole place was about building temples and being religious in a Buddhist fashion, which implies respect for all life. But I'm starting to think that in World War II and before that, every time they touched that country, they were doing the same thing they did to Tibet. They couldn't have any culture with its roots back to whatever the history is they don't want us to understand, which is probably peaceful and happier than we have been led to believe.
Yeah, definitely. I think some wars are staged just to destroy history.
Oh, I think that all day long. We actually had our president had tight political ties with the so-called Dalai Lama when China marched on him, and we did nothing. Of course, and this broke my heart when I had to admit it to myself, the Dalai Lama, you could say what you want about him. He's definitely probably wants to be a peaceful man, but you don't hold that position without playing by the rules these days. Nobody does.
Yeah, totally.
All right, everybody, you're listening to Jeran is a Monday Night Raw. We're here with David Weiss, and I also got Jason Lingering, Crow 777, and Owen Benjamin. And at the end of this hour, we'll be dropping the YouTube feed. So just be on D Live, and we'll be on TFR Radio. So if you guys want to call in, I don't know who you'll be able to talk to, but maybe if everybody stays, you'll have all of us to talk to. Get in line, 213-233-3998. We've already got 10 or 15 people waiting in line to get your phone calls in. So be quick. If you have a question or a comment for one of us, direct it to them. Hey, Owen, this and this and this. And let's try and move through them quickly. So cool. Owen stays. I don't know if Owen's staying or if Owen's got teats to play with.
No, I'll be here, man. I've just got to. I got to bottle feed some week-old goats, but I'm here.
Crow, we got another hour, but you're welcome to bow out whenever you need to. I appreciate you being on, but if you want to stay for the next hour, we just take calls and see what.
I'm with you, man. I just wanted to know. Hey, I got one. Hey, Owen Benjamin, leave them kids alone.
There you go.
I couldn't resist.
That might have been programming to keep people away from the box saga.
Owen, are all your
kids alone?
Owen, do you
was that Darren?
Are all your grandparents gone, or do you have any left?
Oh, they're all gone, man. Yeah. My family would all have kids. Like my mom had me at 38 or 39, my parents, and then their parents had them in their late 30s too. So they lived full lives, but died in their 80s when I was very young.
No, that's the same thing for me. I think we're all at that age. I think we're most. You and I are 40. I don't know who else, but that age, you lose your grandparents. So it's everybody out there. If you still have your grandparents left, I just ask you to go out there and interview them, talk to them, get that information on video. I would love to see it. Send us those interviews. I think that they'll all go viral. I think it's important. So,
well, yeah, Amy's grandfather's 83, and he helps me build all the roofs to my barns. He's in great health, and he tells me stories about working for the Forestry Service and, just old school Pacific Northwest lumber work. He's sailed to Hawaii and stuff. He's a real incredible guy.
Amazing. Yeah. So, again, if people want to get in line, 213-233-3998. After this break coming up, we'll be back. We'll be a little bit more unscripted as we'll drop the YouTube call, and we'll continue on this conversation with just so much gravy. I couldn't ask for anything better than having you guys on. So thank you guys so much for joining us last second. That was fun. I think the listeners will be happy that you guys are all here and everybody's doing well. Completely.
Great.
Dave, was there something else you wanted to talk about? Oh, I don't have a lot of time, but did you want to mention anything about the app? You got about a minute.
Big update coming. Might be by the end of this week, this weekend, or next week. And I'm looking for people that have Flat Earth books out there. Anybody that has a Flat Earth related or book, email me a link to it, and we're going to put up a web page that's going to be linked through the app that is going to be for anyone that's looking for Flat Earth books. It'll be a link to your site to get the book. So we're trying to consolidate into one place. So.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a Flat Earth book. I mean, if there's, I always talk about like Josh Brown's Spiral Life. There's some other people who have great books about how to improve your life. So, all right, guys, we'll be right back with your phone calls. Drop it to YouTube feed.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
On New Hampshire. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Voters will take to the polls in two small New Hampshire towns in just hours. President Trump held a rally in Manchester tonight as he tries to shore up support.
We have more in this arena and outside of this arena than all of the other candidates, meaning the Democrats, put together and multiplied times 5.
And blasting Democrats.
Democrats are now the party of high taxes, high crime, open borders, late-term abortion, socialism, and blatant corruption.
Votes cast in Iowa are still not final after discrepancies were found. Right now, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg has a slim lead over Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders.
The Sanders campaign said they found precincts in Iowa with, quote, errors and inconsistencies ripe for review. So they're asking for a recanvass and hoping to gain an extra national delegate as Sanders becomes the national frontrunner for the first time, according to a new Quinnipiac poll.
Polls are fine, but winning elections are more important.
Sanders is now ahead of Joe Biden, whose support has fallen 9 points since the end of January. Third place goes to Michael Bloomberg, who isn't even competing in any of this month's contests, but other contenders think he'll be watching.
Fox's Peter Ducey in Durham, New Hampshire. Attorney General William Barr announcing federal lawsuits against local governments that defy administration policy on illegal immigration, including the state of New Jersey.
Seeking declaratory and injunctive relief against the laws that forbid state and local law enforcement from sharing vital information about criminal aliens with DHS.
And he says local district attorneys who charge foreign nationals with lighter offenses to avoid federal penalties will also be looked at. On Wall Street, the Dow ended the day up 174 points. America is listening to Fox News.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's
All right, welcome back. You are listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We are on TFR and D-Live, and we've got Dave Weiss, Crow, Jason, Owen. What a cast, and of course your phone calls. And remember to follow us all at D-Live. You've got dlive.tv/Owen Benjamin Comedy, dlive.tv/Crow, CRROW 777 Radio, and dlive.tv/Jeranism. And Dirth, you don't have a D-Live yet because you don't ever go live. What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
I could name a few things. We did get one super chat, thank you very much, from Eric DeLion, who said, yes, they use war to destroy history. This is why the U.S. firebombed Dresden, to eliminate ancient manuscripts. Martin Luther's proclamation also. Not to mention the old Vatican Library that we're not allowed to see. Can you imagine the text that might be in there?
If I had to put a timeline on it, I would say that, from 1900, give or take a little bit, to 1930 is when they wiped out the globe and the flat Earth and introduced the globe. They got the World Wars, you got the Depression. It's all you need. You've totally, just distracted everybody and destroyed everything, rewritten history.
Well, here's one for you. I've been doing a ton of Vatican research, and I just read some Plato not too long ago, Timaeus, and some other things. The whole occult movement and the black magic-y stuff that went into the Vatican got there prior to the Renaissance and then became open in the Renaissance. But the reason I'm bringing this up is as I read the old Plato, I could just smell that someone had changed the text to make him say the word sphere. It was just obvious to me. And so what I began to realize is what the Vatican actually did was they worshipped Hermes Trismegistus, who had a line to Pythagoras and Plato first, and then they tried to pull it all up to the public, support the Christian idea. But the point I'm making is where Plato was, there is no way in hell anyone was talking about a globe Earth. So since we know the Vatican translated a lot of these things, I am almost convinced that these heroes of antiquity have been barn-walled. What they've said has been changed. The reason I'm bringing this up, if anyone can get a hold of old Plato or Socrates texts that precede Latin or the Vatican, there might be a bombshell waiting there.
There might be a reason why they keep so much stuff in their archives and pretty much no one can go in and look at any of it.
Yeah, all that stuff is rewritten. I mean, scribes that, and nobody could even read or write, really. You just had these scribes, and imagine you've got a king standing over their back telling them that they had to change the text. They would have had no choice. And if it wasn't them, off with their head, the next scribe would have come in and wrote whatever they wanted them to change it to, especially when they have the printing press that came out right around the same time.
Right.
And if there are originals, they've got them locked away.
It's stunning how many of the texts we take for granted now. As a matter of fact, for people who know anything about hermetics, there's a text called Pymander that a lot of people hold up. I got news for you. That was the 3rd century AD, and that was translated by one of the guys who brought black magic into the Vatican. Just to let people know. The Hermetics, I mean, you can't really argue with some of the kind of alchemical truths. Everything vibrates, gender. These ideas, they're provably true, but there was a dark side to all this, and that's what the Vatican got involved in.
Absolutely. All right.
I think his giant boner hat. The dude's boner hat kind of is a dead giveaway.
I always thought that was supposed to be a fish for the age of Pisces.
I love the guy standing in
I know. That's what I thought about. That's what I thought about the Washington Monument too. They always have a story, but to me, it's always a boner now.
It is a boner, and there's no lie. It's a circumcised boner, and anyone who tells you different is either ignorant or lying. It's provably a boner.
Yeah, and sometimes like the Pope's staff he has with Jesus' crucifixion on it, right. I get the feeling that it's a brag. Like, it's almost like we did this.
Oh, I think so.
And I know that's going to piss off. I know that's going to piss off Catholics, but that's cool. Like, I'm friends with a lot of Catholics. The good people are good people. There's churches that function well, but like the red shoes, the boner hat, like the fact that he's saying that you can be gay married and the world's a global economy. It's at this point, if people don't call out the Pope, it's just fraud. I have no respect for people that do that.
Here's a bombshell for you. One of the guys that did such great research that I'm referencing now, his name is Hoffman. His mentor, Downard, is the guy who actually cracked how all the JFK Masonic, all that nonsense was done, to include how the names work, the location, all of it. But this guy, Hoffman, if you remember the movie They Live, the lenses are called Hoffman lenses, almost certainly named after this guy. Now, his later research is much different than his earlier research, but here's the kicker. His whole thing is Catholicism is fantastic. I've been Catholic my whole life, but the church is rotten to the core and has been since before the Vatican. So it's really quite a twist in the wind to go through research at this level for someone who's trying to defend being Catholic at the same time while he chops the foundation right out from under it.
Yeah, I think
I mean, E. Michael Jones is a good friend of mine, and he's a major Catholic scholar, and he has Culture War magazine, but he got fired from a Catholic church for being against abortion, and for calling out the Jesuit Velvet Mafia. And I mean, there's a lot of Catholics trying to do as good as they can, but it's in a very impossible situation right now,
I totally agree. I think they look at the whole crucifixion as a victory. It's just what it seems like. If Satan was out there, wouldn't that be what he would want people wearing around their freaking necks? Like,
I'll be able to.
Yeah, and also it's like, look, the doors are the doors of the Roman Senate on the Vatican. It's not like they're telling you we're Pontius Pilate, like we're the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to piss people off. But, I mean, why use the Roman Senate doors for a house of worship? It's like that was a Saturnian, occultist thing. I mean, it's their thing, though. I don't get too worked up about it. But how funny would it be if their whole archive was just like, we're going to keep the secrets from other people and keep them entrapped. And they'll never know that the world is not a spinning ball. And dudes like us just figured it out. And they're like, oh no.
God damn it.
I'm pretty sure we can tie that close to the Easter annals when they were trying to place Easter. So Pope Gregory XIII, he takes a shot at Jack in the Calendar. A supposed guy's named Julius Caesar takes the first crack. As you point out, the Senate doors go to St. John's Basilica, which proves there's no separating what we call ancient Rome from Rome. But I'm not too far away from pinpointing the total enforcement of the globe lie in the vicinity of Pope Gregory, and when he snapped his fingers to make Easter be on one day. It all seems to start to originate right there. And by the way, Galileo Galilei, stage actor, man. That name was stage ready. Copernicus, there's a few of them that seem to be just made up personages.
Oh, yeah, you put him on house arrest. Oh, how terrible. He lived in a castle.
Well, it's actually worse than that. They told him, you can't say that. It's against Scripture. We're going to kill you. Well, we're not going to kill you, but we're arresting you, and you can't publish. Well, okay, you got to stay at home. Well, okay, you can publish. And within less than 90 years, the Jesuits are teaching exactly what was written.
Right. Amazing. And
no, it's a classic good cop, bad cop. It's like, oh, no, not the bad cops. And trust me, as someone who's worked in entertainment, Galileo Galilei is a stage name. He might as well be a gay porn star.
Yeah, it was ready for the stage long before anyone. Come on, Galilee, really? Why didn't they just name him Jesus?
He may not have even existed.
I don't think that they existed. It's like Einstein. There was a guy there, but I'm here to tell you, he was acting the part. Einstein is a complete construct. Everyone is it Dresden? What's the name of the picture, Jason, that I can never remember? Where Marie Curie, Einstein, Oppenheimer, it's a black and white picture. They often use that picture.
Second.
They often use that picture to put digital watches on them so you can see why there's fraud in the picture, which the joke is on you. The entire picture is fraud, and all the people in it are frauds. Marie Curie never existed as a human being, and she's right there with Einstein, who wore the same frickin' suit every day of his life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's hit
it's crazy.
Guys, when you call in, let's keep the calls as short as possible. We've got a lot of people in line. Get a question out. Let us know. Let's go first to the 360. You're on with Jeran DITRH, Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey, it's Dottie.
What's up, Dottie? Oh, it's Retard Bear.
Retard Bear! What's up?
Hey. I feel like this stream has so much masculine energy in it that, like, if you guys were all single on this stream together, like, I would probably just get pregnant listening to it. So, just FYI. Yeah.
It's good to know there's still men in the world, though, right?
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about that. Like,
this is basically the audio box saga.
I love it. It's great. Yeah, I was sitting here thinking, I was like, man, all of these guys are just so legendary and so amazing in completely different ways, but you're all just like, I'm so happy to know you even through the internet or however it is I know all of you, and like, it's just amazing. But yeah, I wanted to let everybody know that I've finally figured out my YouTube live streaming, and so you can join me on Fridays at 10 a.m. and I will teach you about the plant of the week. So last week I talked about tomatoes for like an hour, and yeah, this week is going to be probably zucchini. So stop by and learn about zucchini.
Brilliant idea. And what's the channel name?
My channel name is Dottie's World. So DOTTIE apostrophe S space WORLD. Dottie's World.
Fridays, 10 a.m. What time Pacific?
Because I'm going to plug it. DOTT Dottie's DOTTYS. What is that again?
DOTTIE apostrophe S
IE.
and
Cool.
World. Yeah. And yeah, it's, I guess I don't know, I live in like Seattle, so whatever time zone I'm in.
So Fridays, 10 a.m.
PST.
All right, sweet.
Pacific Northwest.
We'll definitely plug it. Thank you so much for the call. And yeah, let's check that out. Dottie's World Fridays, 10 a.m. for the plant of the week. I love it. Get back to growing your own food, getting healthy. Let's go to the 616. You're on with Jeran's Monday Night Raw and the crew. What's up? 616. You've been waiting for 74 minutes. It's, all right, we'll come back to you. Thanks for stalling.
9/11 encoded, 74 minutes, 11. Start of a curse.
Uh-oh. All right, and the next person's been on hold for 47 minutes, so think what you will about that. 214, you're on with Jeran's Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey, guys, big fan. Okay, 3 quick questions. First question, did you see the Iranian failed satellite launch that was supposedly hacked by Israel? Second question, did you see that dumbass astronaut on Joe Rogan? And third question, what do you guys think about Wolfgang getting arrested? And I will listen. I'd like to hear what Owen has to say about dumbass Joe Rogan.
All right, thanks. Appreciate that.
I don't watch them. I don't like, because it's, once I find out someone's twisted and has a agenda, I don't let it in my brain, because then my instincts don't pop as clearly. I like to keep my resources primary. So to answer your question, number 1, I didn't watch it. Number 2, didn't watch it. Number 3, don't know too much about him. So I'd like to hear what the other guys say. Like, I'm to the point where when we were on hold, like listening to the news on the station these guys are on, it sounded like noise, where it's like the Republicans and the Democrats battle it out in New Hampshire. I'm like, what in the world? I'd rather listen to WNBA stats. It's just like, what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they have that news on there. I think I've asked before.
No, and I'm not knocking your network. That's not what I mean. I'm not knocking your network. It's just like, I'm so not tuned in anymore to like.
I'm knocking the network's news. It's the worst.
Yeah, we talked over it the entire for the show. We just talked.
I like talking over it. It's literally the worst news ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad teaches that all that hypnotism bullshit where it's like, and now the news is spoken like this. You will believe because you are a programmed retard. You know, I just hate it.
Oh, it's so stupid. What better way to separate 50% of the population against the other 50%, and just to make this whole left versus right, and who's going to do what, and who hates who? If you're listening to that, you are.
Was one of those questions was a failed missile launch, like a failed satellite launch? How do you fail a fake satellite launch?
Yeah, all of them are failed. If you want to be honest about it.
Well,
Jason posted a link. NASA's new budget is proposed at $68 million a day.
They're going to the moon, don't you know?
But you know what they said? They're shooting for 2024. Didn't they already kick that to 2028?
You sent me an article that said that they did, but I just saw today that the Space Force got their budget, and the Space Force budget is $15.4 billion. So it's just more money being fed to these liars. And again, the whole Space Force thing is simply to get more people involved in the military, because people don't want to go into the military, but all of a sudden they hear Space Force, like, oh, I'll go in, I'll protect space, I'll become an astronaut. And what happens? They could end up just getting shoved into the Army or military and going and fighting these useless wars.
Well, they're probably trying to rejuvenate the interest again.
Today, but a New Zealand bear wrote in that he was in the Army and he's near a base, and he's like, dude, there's like 8 C-130s flying to Antarctica every day. Like, they're using that money for something.
If you go south from anywhere in the world far enough, you will find actual human beings living like actual human beings. I'll bet you.
You think so? Yeah. Even south?
Yeah, anywhere from the world, you head south and you go far enough without being stopped, and you're going to find a different world.
Yeah, I tend to think that too. That's why they have this whole. That's why they have to keep the whole fuel hoax going. I mean, they have to. They can't tell people about free energy. Otherwise, we'd be able to get into a helium ship and just go south for as long as we want.
We always make the joke that Kobe just retired to Mason Island. It's probably more like Mason Continent.
Yeah. Google Earth definitely is hiding tons of stuff in the South, but go on Google Earth or just on the web browser Google Earth and go deep into the Indian Ocean and zoom in, and you find these tiny little islands. Like, they're specks that you can't see them until you get really close. And then you zoom in farther and you'll see that all of the trees are like, you can tell that these are farm trees, and there's buildings, and it's like a tiny little airstrip. It's like, you've never heard of these islands. They're amazing, but they're all over the place. And then those are the ones that are not on there. So there's so many places to hide in this world.
I'm going to be really disappointed if Kobe got his own island.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Well, he's got to share it with David Bowie and Prince.
Probably bored out of his mind. Like, dudes like that, they can't retire. Like, Michael Jordan is still tries to stay in player shape. He's like weighing himself every morning. Like, these guys are competitive animals. Like, they don't want to stop. Like, they love it. Like, Kobe loves that crazy stuff,
Yeah, Bob Dylan told you why. Hey, Bob, why don't you, you're an old man now. Why are you still going out on the road? Well, because I made a deal with the head guy, and I'm trying to hold up my end of the deal so they don't Prince and Kobe me.
Hey, speaking of Kobe.
Exactly. Look at Madonna.
Yeah, really.
Speaking of Kobe, Russian Vids put out a video today, which I think is the nail in the coffin as far as the helicopter crash being fake. So people should check that out. It's a short video, but the helicopter crash was old footage, and it was the stuff they showed on the news was fake footage.
You mean the cartoon showing Kobe crash 3 weeks before he died wasn't good enough for everybody?
Yeah. No, they had they have white smoke coming up from these canisters versus a real helicopter crash, which is pure black smoke. It's just watch the video. You'll finally start to get it. For those of you that think it was real, it wasn't real. Is he dead? I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah, one of the bears was from a famous family, and he was in a helicopter crash when he was 12. And he was like writing to me. That's the beauty of these guys. It's like it's almost like we have the good-hearted CIA. But he was writing to me. He's just like, dude, that ain't a helicopter crash. I've been in a helicopter crash. That's nothing like it. And I'm like, yeah, interesting. And then you find out about Kobe Bryant making like kids cartoons to teach them how to have like what was it? These like demon cages to motivate himself with his like little black mamba demon. It's psychotic. It's just like that guy was involved in some bad stuff.
Well, anyone who names himself after a Japanese cow that's black, I mean, that's why I made fun of him in my thumbnail, Kobe Beef.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get another call in. 208, you're on with Jeran Monday Night Raw. The guys, what's up? Okay, let's not get another call in. 208. How about 214? You're on with Jeran Monday Night Raw. So anybody?
I just asked. Did you guys
You never said anything about Wolfgang. I was just on the line listening.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that. Thank you for reminding us. With Wolfgang, I mean, it's what they're going to do. They can't let him keep going out there and talking about what he's talking about. So they're going to try this new method. But I mean, it's not like he's in jail. I mean, he was just arrested and let out.
But what is sickening about the mainstream media is, they all reported on it. If you look at the reports, first they woke up this old man in the middle of the night. He looked like hell. They probably photoshopped the picture to make him look like, if you didn't know who he was, you would say, "Oh, look at this sick bastard," and then they're just saying that this was a guy harassing parents, and they failed to mention that he's the guy that wrote the book on school safety and taught the course across the country.
Never mention that.
They don't even mention that he was a state trooper and he wrote the book. And when he saw this event in Connecticut, he started asking questions and they told him to shut up. And that was like, they poked the bear, and that was a mistake.
Right. And as far as, I don't watch Joe Rogan. Sometimes I'll tune in when Eddie Bravo's on because I like Eddie, but I don't want to listen to Joe Rogan, cuck to some astronaut. That's for sure.
You want to hear something crazy about Eddie?
Sure.
He hasn't seen my video yet. He's watching it after his kid's karate match tonight.
Did he text you today?
Just now.
Yeah, he just texted me too. I didn't get a chance to read it yet, but he sent me some video. I think it was.
They're not Go
ahead.
Oh, sorry. But they're not putting Wolfgang in jail, though, right?
He had $5,000 bond bail.
Right. So
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's insane.
I wonder what made them think. I wonder what made them think they could get away with that. Did they get him on something out? Like what was that? Like how did they do that?
I think it was the same thing again, right? That he was he put out they always have to find something that he did. So in one particular email chain or something, he put out somebody's personal information, and that's what he got arrested for, right, Dave?
He got arrested for the same person, Posner, who's just a total fraud. He found a loophole, and they got him arrested. They're just trying to harass him until he quits.
This is all so fake and fraud that anyone who ever gets a real lawyer is going to begin to poke holes in this.
You can't. No one will represent him. That's the problem. That's
the fear of it. There will be people. This whole thing is wearing thin.
Oh, dude, someone will do it. Yeah.
All right, let's see if we get another call in. 713. You're on with Jeran Monday Night Raw. What's up? We hear. Go, shoot.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize it was me. About, I'm going to say 6 weeks ago or so, y'all had some guy call in and he tried to stump you about what happens if you jump out of an airplane at 30,000 feet. Why don't you go up instead of down? Because the density and buoyancy argument.
Right, this is really dumb.
But we didn't really get to a good answer. So I've been sitting here thinking about this for weeks now. And I understand Dave's point about, magnetism and all that. But I think there's a simpler answer. And, they teach you in school, that sea level, you have a column of air above you that is 14.7 pounds per square inch, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at 30,000 feet, it's like 12 pounds per square inch. But the bottom line is the pressure is still down. It doesn't matter if you're at 100,000 feet and you have 1 pound of pressure per square inch. That pound of pressure is down.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you jump at 30 feet or 30,000 feet. You've got a column of air pushing down on you. So you're going to go down.
Totally agree.
Hello?
Good answer. No, it's a good answer.
Okay.
Appreciate the call. Yeah. And couldn't agree more. And that's exactly right. Of course you're going to go down. So let's see. Right before the break, 9:05, you're on with Jeran Monday Night Raw. What's up?
Hey, guys. So, long story short, my grandparents are all passed. But, it's one of those things that I wish I would have asked them before it happened, like the whole Ruth thing. Because it's awesome Dave talked to Ruth. And Crow, Jason, Jeran, David, love you all. But the thing is when I was young, I was stupid because I was ignorant, and I told my grandmother my sister was listening to Devil's music when the Backstreet Boys were out. And she laid into her like you wouldn't believe. But I thought it was funny because I was a dumbass.
All right, break. Appreciate the call. We'll be right back with more of your phone calls. Another half hour to go. Jared doesn't want to go anywhere. And actually, go get something to drink. Don't listen to the ads. Go just distilled water. Go get a cucumber, tomato.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? iLife is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to iLife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
True initiation is an inward journey. It's a spiritual path that is totally inward. It has nothing to do with anything external to you.
I want to determine if the grand architect is indeed what I believe it to be, which is the artificial intelligence.
The initiatory path is one of self-discovery and self-revealing. It's not a journey that someone can hold your hand through.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you through the steps of initiation. Remember, you are divinity.
Step Beyond the Veil with Chris and Sherry Geo. Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
No hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. Excuse me. You're listening to Jeran is a Monday Night Raw. We've got all the guys here: Dave, Weiss, Crow, Jason, Owen, Milking Goats. It's a great time, and we are taking your phone calls. And it's been a great show, but I know a lot of people may have tuned in to hear some of the fantastic flat Earth proofs that are coming out, and there's just been so much this week. Go back and watch Globebusters from yesterday. We talked about a lot of them. Look at Grotto 1's new test, his 8-mile test, proving again that the horizon is not physical. I mean, if you're on a ball Earth, that's what the horizon is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the edge of that sphere Earth. It's what's blocking distant observations, and it's being proven over and over again that it's not there, that it's an apparent position. So check out Jay Tolan Media's stuff. Taboo Conspiracy's done a bunch of things. The Flat Reality Earth Explorers and their Salton Sea stuff. Check out Nathan Oakley to get more of the Black Swan information. Dave, it's just rolling in almost nonstop at this point.
Jason, I think Jason, you took some pictures across Lake Pontchartrain, and can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, this is my preliminary work. I've been waiting for a good day. Obviously, with the winter, it's been a little offish with the humidity and all that. But yes, I finally got some decent pictures way across, and lo and behold, I can see the top of the Superdome, and according to the math, if we've done it correctly, I should not be able to see it.
Yeah, if you're across the lake, you shouldn't see the Superdome at all. It's not very tall. Isn't it only about 250 feet?
Yeah, 275 or somewhere in that ballpark. But either way, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I pulled it up in case we want to talk about it. And I double-checked it when I went there yesterday to drop Rose off at the airport. I was watching the positions of the buildings and everything so that I knew what I was looking at was indeed the Superdome. And I watched it and was like, okay, there's the Superdome. It's next to that building there and that. Okay, this is right. So what I'm seeing, even though it's hazy, it's the top. It's at least the top of the Superdome.
Are you sure you weren't seeing a refracted, supercalibristic refraction superlume?
Well, my David Weiss, why don't you tell me? We'll go over it together.
We just call it a superior mirage, but unless it was upside down, you didn't see a superior mirage.
Yeah, people fail to realize that you have to have line of sight to see these things, and there isn't supposed to be line of sight. There's supposed to be a huge bulge of water in your way. And yeah, check out Life is Short. I mean, he's proving that when you get down to the surface that you lose the information. There's too much information trying to come to your eye or to your camera. And what happens? You just lose all that information, and that's what happens when you get too close to the deck. He's doing tests at just 400 feet and showing that you can put a light 3 inches above the water at 400 feet, and if you get your camera low enough to the surface, you lose that light. Well, how the hell is that? It's just proving that's how our eyes work.
I've always known that. I forget whose video it was, but the guy was looking across a short, very flat pond, no ripples at all. And in the middle of the pond was like a little leaf or a stick or something. And he's looking at it from like 5 feet, and you can see that the leaf and the stick is about halfway across the pond. But when he lowered the camera right down to the water, you still had most of that distance to the stick. But from the stick to the other side of the pond was like a quarter of an inch.
Right. That's why life is
and so all of that was compressed into this, what do you call that zone? Refractive zone or convergence zone?
Too close to the deck, you can do it at a Walmart. I mean, you put a light at the end of a Walmart and you lower your camera, then, when you get down close enough to the ground, you lose that light off in the distance. And that's exactly what happens with distant observations. And they've simply reconfigured or remanufactured that into calling it a globe. And it's not. It's just the way our eyes work. So,
Jason, you going to publish those pictures?
Yeah, what I'm intending to do for anybody who might be interested is this was my preliminary tests. The big thing was getting a good tripod, which I now did for my P1000. So I found multiple locations I can now get on the North Shore where I can see things. And Rose and I are just going to make days out of it. We're going to go down in the afternoon and just get shots from different places and just compare and contrast them. And then once I get enough, I'll edit them together and make a good video and say, okay, you guys tell me, should I or should we not be able to see what we are seeing?
Jason, if you're going to make a day out of it, and it's so hard to do, we only have this Skunk Bay footage, but a time-lapse, a full-day time-lapse across, without the camera moving, change the batteries, change the memory cards, just keep it going all day long. That is a telling video.
Might be able to figure that out. Does the P1000 have time-lapse is the question?
Yes, it does. Well, I think it does. The P900 does. I'm sure it does.
It does.
Well, then I'll just figure out how to do that.
But you're going to have to, whether you can run a cable to a bigger hard drive, you just got to make sure that you don't fill up your memory card and that you have,
right.
You know, you can swap the batteries out every, 2 hours or whatever it takes.
And don't shoot in RAW.
No, that's too much.
Right. And
by the way, the lake, if you guys want to take a look and ever want to go on a trip, we should try and see if there's enough distance that we can get a boat and go out across the lake and shoot that way. Maybe try the laser experiments, or maybe just try it, just pure visuals. How far out can you go before you can't be seen anymore? Can you be brought back in? Let's measure everything. Like let's do that. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely. I've been talking about that forever. We just need a boat to go out and maintain a certain speed so we know how far it is. Because a lot of people are seeing boats out at the ocean, and nobody knows the distance to those boats. But I guarantee we're seeing too far.
Well, you got GPS on most phones. That would get within 3 meters or something, wouldn't it?
I have a friend who would do it. He wants to do this too. He lives down in near Gonzales, Louisiana, which isn't very far from here.
Do it as the sun's going down. Get one of those million candle power Q beams, and then just reach down and put it like an inch over the water. Because with a laser, you're always going to have a problem. First of all, the boat's moving, and so that makes a problem. Plus, the power of the laser, if it's not enough and it's not lensed right, it'll spread. But if you get a million power Q beam and you reach over the edge of the boat and put it right above or actually touching the water, you can't make an argument for that. If you can see the light, you can see the light.
Absolutely.
By the way, before we jump from this, I'm sharing my screen with you guys on Skype. That big white thing there, is that coming through?
Yep.
See it now.
Okay, so you see the building toward the left? Well, you see a row of buildings. So that big white thing right there that looks kind of like almost like a sunset going down, that is the top of the Superdome.
And how high is your camera?
I am about 10 to 15 feet from the water.
Okay.
Because I'm standing on a fishing pier. Now, I found places further down where I can get right down to it, so the only height would be the height of whatever tripod you are on.
Gotcha. All right, let's see what other phone calls we've got. Let's go to, I don't know, whoever this is. You're on with Journalism on Raw. Who's this?
My name is Marcus, and basically, I just have a couple of questions. Like, why is nobody thinking of taking pictures at the same time from, say, the Southern Hemisphere, somewhere in there, like the South America and South Africa at the same time, and see that it's not a ball? And also, a lot of folks are not talking about the fact that the new gyro that they got, the laser one, is the same thing that Michelson and Morley did 100 years ago.
Right. All right. Well, I appreciate the call. And the only answer I have as far as from the South, I mean, I think if people fail to realize there's only 5% of the population that live south of the equator.
And the problem is, if you're in like Santiago and Australia, it's daylight in one and night in the other. So you could pretend you're looking in the same direction, but you're looking in opposite directions, and you can't see the Southern Cross or any of the southern stars because it's in the part that's daylight. Then 12 hours later, when the stars have spun around, you're looking at the same stars, but you're not on a ball. You're looking in the opposite direction.
Not to mention, there's different magnetic declination in both spots. So are you truly looking south? Well, no. They're turning you some 11, 15, 20 degrees in a different direction. How do you even know you're looking south? And I've shown before that there's places in Antarctica that have 180 degrees of magnetic declination, which means if you're standing there looking at your compass and it says you're looking north, you're actually looking completely south. That's just ridiculous that anybody would buy that.
Well, how a compass works is the whole thing too, right?
Right.
When I first got my big scope in the 90s and I was learning how to set it up by hand, I had to correct magnetic declination so many degrees off north for Southern California. In the actual directions from the Meade telescope factory at that time, it told you the reason your compass is pointing the way it is because there's a huge metal deposit in Michigan. That's what it said back then.
Really? And what would be, so that's why it's different for everywhere in the United States because of Michigan, or you're saying just because you were...
Right. So, and actually, I thought there must be something to this because I would go to Rhode Island and I would do the calculation because you have to be so many degrees off true north to set up a scope. And it would change as if it was pointed. And my father, we had family in Michigan. My father told me that it was well known that there was a huge metal deposit. And not only that, I forget what the island is, not Mackinac, but there is an island there where historically people came to get all kinds of metals out of the ground, copper and other kinds of ore. So my point would be, I think it's easily questionable, what the hell is it that makes a magnet look north or a compass look north, what we call north?
So you think, Crow, that there's probably a big deposit or some sort of mountain or maru or something at the North Pole?
I don't know, but I like the idea that it's something so terrestrial that there's metal there. I haven't looked into it, but I've always thought later on as I got older, is this true? Is this correct? And I can guarantee you from San Diego to Rhode Island, which is about 3,000 miles, the offset from true north is about what you'd expect. So it's an interesting conjecture. But yeah, if north is north, and put it this way, if you can call north the center of land or land masses and go south anytime you're moving away from the pole, regardless of which way you're facing, then to me, yeah, it would start to mean there must be lodestone or something there.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, let's go to 614. You're on with Jeran's Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hello?
614, what's up? You got a question for any of us? For Crow? For Jason? For...
Hey, what's up, guys? Adam from Columbus.
What's up, Adam?
Yeah. Awesome to be on with all you guys. Been trying to get verified as a Flat Rock Bear for a while, Mr. Benjamin. But
welcome, Flat Rock Bear.
There you go, verified.
Thank you.
You've been verified.
Nice. So you guys have hit on so many things. I'm really confused on where I was going, but a couple things as far as like the old script, translating that stuff. A lot of the sphere was orbs, which didn't mean a sphere back then. It was a flat disc. So they changed that a bunch. And then a couple other things. I bought a house that was built in the late 1800s, and every bedroom had a fireplace in it. But none of the chimneys are rated for fire. We remodeled the whole house, and I think there was 8 chimneys in the house, and not one of them could you have a fire in. So all this, free energy stuff. I know people have talked about the alternators with the different pressures, but it makes perfect sense to me that, the chimneys back then weren't used for fireplaces. They didn't heat it that way. It was some sort of energy conductor of some sort. I don't know if you guys have heard about that stuff, but and then one other thing with the Ruth interview, it was awesome. I have a grandmother in a home now, and another recently passed. She was also in a home, but I think I found I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do in this community to try to help, and that's something that I really think I want to do is go in there and interview, because my grandmother she was so receptive to everything, and we had some really great conversations before she passed. In that age group, 80 plus, they'll talk about it and that stuff. But my dad, one of the smartest people I know, in his late 60s, I think they've been so indoctrinated, the boomers, he will not even consider any of it. He gets, physically upset and, almost to wanting to fight. That's how enraged he gets when I bring it up.
That should be a sign of something, right? That indoctrination.
Yeah,
right. And
it's no different than a cult deprogramming.
Right. And my wife, who's never wanted to hear any of this stuff, the Ruth video, I showed her that and started talking about that stuff. And she, all of a sudden, she was like, whoa, wait, in the 20s, and they were teaching this in school, and she absolutely loved it. And I think now she's finally going to pay some attention to it, which was fantastic.
Weiss gets to put another one of those flags on the side of his Mustang, man. He shot down another 0.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, appreciate the call, and you're absolutely right about orbs. I mean, that comes from the Latin orbis, which means circle or disc. Certainly doesn't mean spherical body, but of course they've changed that like they've changed most things. So
there's a whole argument from the 1800s that every light that you see is round because your eye is a round lens. I've tried to go at this, but it's a little, there's no good way to go at it. It's the lens we have is what we have. But the argument is the reason you look up and the planets look round is because the way the eye lens is shaped in the eye.
I absolutely have always said that. And the fact that to build a camera, you have to build, the camera is basically an eye, right?
Right. Exactly.
So they build that same, you have to have that spherical lens. And so you get that distortion, and people just have been told that means that these are spheres or orbs or spheres. Yeah, exactly.
Clearly, we're going to have to build a square lens.
Go ahead, Owen.
Oh, dude, want to know who has square lenses or goats? That's square eyeballs.
That's true.
People's are square.
They're
also,
so all goats know the Earth is flat. Good to know.
Imagine how funny it would be if it just turned out it was a translation problem. Like the entire globe lie was just, they're like, sphere. Oh, I think that means globe. And they just rewrote all the books, and then it just kept snowballing. If it wasn't even the gay Jesuits.
It's such
kind of funny.
We talked about it on Globebusters yesterday, but just if you look at the whole Columbus story, the whole thing about it being a sphere just simply makes no sense. That they knew about it in 300 BC, and it took some 1,700 years till somebody said, "Hey, since we know the size of it and we know that it's a globe, why don't we travel to the west?" It's just ridiculous that they would have waited 1,700 years to do that. And of course, if anybody knows true history, we know that's not the case. 802.
English fishermen were fishing in Newfoundland in the 1400s nonstop. It was stories nonsense.
Well, the Vikings, the Phoenicians, Asians, Chinese, Japanese, they've all been traversing the plain for a while. 802, you're on with Jeran Monday Night Raw. Make it quick. Okay, that was real quick. Thank you for that.
Hey, real quick, I just want to thank a bunch of people sent in some donations for Ruth for a little gift for her. Thank you, everybody, and I'll try to record my conversation when I read the notes to her. So thanks.
Do that. Nice. I like it. And again, how do they, if they want to donate to that, Dave? How can they do so?
The pinned comment under my video on DITRH, but the PayPal is DT Weiss. DT Weiss for David, T for trustworthy. Weiss, Weiss at Gmail.
I never knew that was your middle name.
What's your middle name?
I thought it was Thomas, like doubting.
What is your middle name? Now that I'm naming another boy, I'm always curious what everyone's names, like middle names are. What's your T name?
I'm struggling for a joke. I can't come up with one. Just T. It's my middle name. T.
T.
Actually, it's like Mr.
T.
Yeah, like Mr. T. David T.
Oh, and there's no better name than
T, like TEA.
No, like
he
the letter T.
What?
So there's no better name than Jeran.
We'll just leave the.
Jeran's a solid name.
Yeah, we'll leave the T alone. Oh, and if you can figure out why Bo Derek has 2 male monikers, then we'll have something to talk about.
I think Bo Derek has a ween.
Yeah, I think I'm with you all day long there. And that makes you question. Yeah, what was that guy's Miles something? The Tarzan guy makes you wonder about that, man. He's got better cheekbones than any girl I ever dated.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh God,
Maximus.
Oh, Maximus. I don't know.
I like Max, but I don't like Maximilian. I don't know.
You're gonna get gluteus jokes. Yeah, you're gonna get gluteus jokes. Think carefully.
That's a good point. Forget Maximus.
Yeah, my middle name's that's too. Yeah, Michael's too common. Why not Owen Jr.?
Why not what? Owen Jr.?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need it.
I don't need it.
I don't need it.
And by the way, speaking of Dottie's call, if anybody does get pregnant from this stream, it's not my baby. Just want to point that out. All right. 418, you're on with Jeran Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Yeah, Danielle here. you're making history, guys. Love you all. And I just want to say thank you, David, for this very touching interview. You just helped an old lady being uplifted in front of us all. It was a very moving experience. My grandma passed away. My second one, when 20 days before she was 98, and I wish I could have a discussion like this with her. So thank you. It's a remarkable idea, and I wish long live to Ruth, and she's our new flat-earth grandma. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much. We'll try one more call before we say our goodbyes. 504, you're on with Journalism on Night Raw. What's up?
Hey, it's Dennis from Oregon. I know I don't have much time. I just wanted to say two quick things about history. You mentioned Columbus a moment ago. I shared this with Mark Sargent, and on the West, there's an essay by James J. Allegro. It's online. It's called The Bottom of the Universe, Flat Earth Science in the Age of Encounter. It names names and goes into detail about Flat Earth movement and networks in Spain and Italy and Western Europe in the 1400s and early 1500s. It's a paywall, but I've got it in Word document if I could go online and email you guys afterwards. The other thing is, I think basically in the decades after Magellan, basically during the course of the 1500s, it largely died out in the West. And the Protestants were, just by and large, it's historical fact, they were anti-flat Earth, like in Calvin's commentary on Genesis, he calls it a little globe. But in the West, the last among the Catholics, there was flat Earthism. I did want to say that in the East, it survived intact even to this day. There's another link I have, the Cosmos Indicoplesis, is Christian topography, the flat Earth, the chief flat Earth book of the early church. The Russian Old Believers preserved it intact. It's online now in Slavonic and PDF. But all through, go ahead.
No, I was going to say thanks for that. Make sure you send me some of that information. Hate to drop you, but we only have about 3 minutes left, and I want to make sure everybody gets in their goodbyes and tells you where they can find them. Also, just so you know, Jason, somebody messaged me and says that Fontainebleau State Park, does that sound familiar? Yep. It says rents cabins on Lake Pontchartrain. It's a perfect location for time-lapse footage overlooking the bridge. So they just wanted to make sure to tell David and Jason about these cabins.
Awesome.
So, you know,
that might make things a lot easier.
Yeah. And anything coming up new with you? Where can people find you besides DLive, and give them your P.O. box? So if they want to send a super chat, how can they do that?
Yeah, I've been kicked off all major social media. So if you want to send me a letter, I prefer handwritten, but I understand if it's printed. And you can also send a super chat to P.O. Box 737, Gig Harbor, Washington 98335, and also unauthorized.tv. That's our own streaming service that me and my buddy set up with a gardening, a history channel. It's all self-funded. Incorporated out of America, so less gravel. And I just checked, Crow's DLive is already up to 1,400 people. I'm pretty happy about that.
Wow, we're killing it, man. I'm retiring. That's it. I'm done. I'm out.
No, that's sweet. The DLive is, we should all plug each other's and build it up so, YouTube has less of a...
No, I appreciate it, Owen. We need to build a coalition without leaders, and so this is a good way. So thank you for that.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, no, I was just checking to see if I had to discipline my people. I just see that enough went over.
Absolutely. Support what you like or it goes away. And Jason and Crow, I know you guys are now on DLive as well, and also Secrets of Saturn. So just tell everybody how they can support you.
All right, Jason's got the live stream on Secrets of Saturn on YouTube. You can catch Jason and I at crow777radio.com, CRROW777radio.com, and we're also on DLive as Crow777 Radio. Did I leave anything out, Jason?
No, that's it. Or if you want to see the movie Shoot the Moon, it is available on Vimeo on demand for a rental of $7. It's still available.
Yeah, recurring members of CroachUpSunRadio.com get all that stuff for free.
That's true.
All right, well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you joining us. And David, of course, if you want to support him, he has a new Patreon set up, so you can go to patreon.com/DITRH. Or if you haven't already downloaded the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, what is wrong with you? Dave, anything else you want to say?
No, that's it, man. Thanks.
Yep. And if you haven't checked out the video with Ruth, do it. It's on a lot of channels. It's been shared all over the place. And appreciate everybody listening in. Hope you enjoyed having Jason Crow and Owen on. As always, I appreciate them and support them as much as I possibly can. So check them out on DLive. And, do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. That's for sure. And check out Crow and everything that they do. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
Peace, guys. Later, Owen.
See you guys.
Later, Dirk.
Later.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
To steal Democrats' thunder. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump holding a rally in Manchester, New Hampshire, just hours before the first votes are cast in the first-in-the-nation primary. Telling the crowd.
Nashua to Dixville, from Portsmouth to Plymouth, from Concord to Claremont, and from Meredith to right here in Manchester, we stand on the shoulders of red-blooded American patriots who poured out their heart, sweat, and soul to secure our liberty and to defend our freedom.
The president also thanked House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for the jump Republicans have seen in the polls. Democrats, meanwhile, making their final push, including former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who has seen a slight lead in the still unsettled Iowa caucuses.
He has crisscrossed this state, and it is clear that Mayor Pete has momentum here in New Hampshire and is really going toe-to-toe with frontrunner Bernie Sanders, as Mayor Pete is polling in second place here behind Bernie Sanders and is bringing in nearly the same size crowds. And at a rally earlier today at Plymouth State College, Mayor Pete went on the offense in his final push, swinging back at Sanders, who has been criticizing Buttigieg for taking donations from billionaires. Mayor Pete says Sanders' math doesn't add up.
Fox's Matt Finn in Milford, New Hampshire. Health officials in China now say over 1,000 people there have died from the coronavirus as it gets international help.
The World Health Organization has sent a team of experts to China to investigate the coronavirus outbreak, which has now claimed